Hey guys, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here and spending some time today. Hey, I want to talk to you about a subject that is really important in terms of all of us. It affects every single one of us as we build out our life and how we spend our time, how we spend our money, who we spend our time with, and more importantly, where we even spend our work, where we're actually allocating our time when it comes to our career and what we're building. I mentor and help consult a lot of entrepreneurs and creatives, and this question keeps coming up a lot. It's all about the foundation and the blueprints of what they're building their life with. So I want to help you today think about this as it comes to, maybe you're enjoying a cup of coffee this morning, you're thinking about, here's another day, I'm going after this day, it feels like a rinse and repeat. But I know that there's a lot of questions that you want to be able to answer. And here's some of the things that I had to take on as a leader, as a father, as a husband. What is my purpose when I woke up? It's like, what am I going after today? Is it the right thing that I'm going after today? Am I just throwing more spaghetti up against the wall? Am I just trying more things and guessing at what's going to work? And I totally understand that. Today's topic is all about what materials are you building your life with. So imagine it like blueprints. I've always used this analogy of a house where you're going to build a home, whether you're going to build your company, whether you're going to build your lifestyle, and everybody has a different approach as to what their desires are in terms of their lifestyle. So you're born into this world, you start having kids, you start graduating you graduate high school, you start having kids. You don't want to have kids in high school, hopefully, but you start forming this life and you're getting. And one of my mentors said a very wise thing. He says, Noah, the first half of your life is getting. The second half of your life is finishing the task, finishing the marathon, and you almost want to run that race light. However, we spend a majority of our time just as we graduate high school and embark on this career and finding our rhythm and the way that we're going to operate in this life. We work really hard at getting a lot of things, getting a relationship, getting our children, getting a career, getting some passions of what we're passionate about. But what I see happen is in all that getting, we sometimes get ourselves into a knot. I had that in certain early parts of my career, and that was very suffocating, and it quenched out the good stuff. So today, I really wanted to help you answer a few of these problems that we're faced with. You long to know what your purpose is. You love to wake up and have that assurance, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do today. We desire to have a firm foundation for our life, which includes our career and our family. So if we're building that house on the side of a hill, and we're going to use that analogy, what is the foundation? Everybody automatically wants to build a house, build their company, get a marriage and all that, but they don't really know what the entire life is built on. What is the foundation? We want to be sure that we're not guessing all the time. So how can I help you with that today? Know the foundation that you have built, know that you're not guessing anymore, and know that you have purpose. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've gathered, not just from my own experience, but from all the hundreds and thousands of people that we have had come in and out of our life in terms of mentoring them and coaching them and consulting them as they're wanting to find a purposeful life, especially when it comes to their family time and what they do for a living. So let's unpack a little bit about this. I personally have found, for me, the blueprints, the pillars, the very bedrock, knowing that I have a secure foundation, is that in my faith and my relationship with Christ and what his assignment that he's imparted, like why he put me on this earth, like what is my purpose there? What am I supposed to do? And for so many years, I was there. What is my purpose? I don't want to guess anymore. I don't want to try to figure this out. I feel like I'm just managing chaos rather than having structure around my life and being able to have peace in that process and having a very easy yoke about my days rather than anxiety and frustration and feeling like a pinball, kind of just like going around in a pinball machine. I felt I was like life was knocking me around rather than me being in control of it. So have you ever felt that way? Have you felt that way when it comes to parenting? Have you felt that way in marriage? Have you felt that way when you're at work? If we're not careful, we can become ghosts and we just become humans that are existing, not humans actually being. So I would love to help unravel that a little bit. So when we talk about the foundation that we're going to build this life in this house on, first of all, we have to look at what are we building with? What are the materials that we're building with? So imagine if we're all building, like let's say we have a subdivision and there's a subdivision of all the homes. We are all building on the same foundation, hopefully. And I'm just going to share with you mine, and that is the foundation of Christ. And here's why. There's no foundation other than that, which is Jesus Christ. The man who builds on rock is wise, and the man who builds on sand is a fool. And how do we know if we are an actual fool? And I was for a lot of many years, because I was chasing what was so-called the American dream of gather as much as you can, build as much as you possibly can, gather it all, hold it all, and live in this grab as much as you can. And what that led was to a life of a scarcity mentality. And I actually found that the ladder of success was leaned up against the wrong building every time. So I might have conquered a big client, I might have landed a big deal, but it was maybe at the expense of my family or time with loved ones. More importantly, my dreams got pushed aside. It was all in the idea of becoming a great provider. And I know that that can be a lot of our feeling. That's a common trap for a lot of us. So how can I help you today with building with the right materials? For me, that foundation is Christ. We have two options with the building materials that we have. And I want you to think about this analogy. Each day, every minute that you have can go into two directions. One, it can go into the shredder and be shredded, or it can go into the vault that's going to have everlasting eternal value. And that excites me, because when I'm building my life with things that are going to outlive this life, and that's going to build enriching relationships with the folks that I'm doing life with, that's where purpose begins to happen. Where did I get that purpose? My faith in Christ, when my faith is rooted in Him and I'm stably drilled down to that bedrock of having and finding my identity in Him, I'm not finding it in what the world has to offer, whether that be status, prestige, honor, notoriety, money, possessions, wealth. Those are big time dangled carrots that are out there being offered by the media, the world, on social media. And you can spend a majority of your day, if you're like me, you can be looking at that big old buffet of offerings and be going like, man, I feel like an outcast. But when you're firmly rooted in Christ, the most beautiful part about that is you are operating on an entirely other economy. So that changes our thinking and says, if I'm going to build this life wisely and build with the right materials, how can I make sure that I'm actually going to build on a firm foundation? You can't miss out. I'm just telling you this, friend. You cannot miss out if you build your life on the foundation of Christ. If we put our trust and faith and hope in people, places, things, institutions, always we will be they'll fail us. They'll come up empty. And even if they do work, they will only be short-lived. It'll almost feel like fast food. It tasted great, but it wasn't long and wasn't sustaining. So to review, we want to know our purpose. We know we don't want to guess all the time. We know that we want to be able to build with the right materials and have that confidence on a daily basis that I know who I am, I know what I'm supposed to do, I know how I'm supposed to do it. So I'll leave it with this. If we're building our life on the foundation of Christ, and He is our foundation, when people come up to me and ask me that question, hey, what's your purpose in life and how did you find it? I tell them this: to know your actual calling, you have to know that there's actually a caller. To know your calling, you actually have to know that there's a caller. And once you start to realize who's calling and who actually put you here on purpose, you aren't here on happenstance, you are actually placed here on assignment. My goal as we spend time doing life together, and as you watch these videos and as we spend time together doing this online, and wherever you are in the world, my hope is that I can help you discover, expose, and amplify your unique calling, because you're here on purpose and what you have nobody else has. So don't try to compare. And we're going to talk about that in some other videos, the comparison trap. So it's going to be a lot of fun as we unpack this. Let me give you a verse that's going to back this up. So check this out. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against the house, and yet it did not fall. It had been founded on the rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Friend, I want to tell you right now, we each have an opportunity with how we're going to build this life. Some just let life happen to them. Easygoing, just kind of go with the wind and the flow. But I'm here to tell each one of us, encourage us, that we are here on purpose, and every second, every day counts and will be accounted for. And I want to know that what I am doing is right, and more than anything, how great is it to wake up and say, I've partnered with God. I've found out based on His calling on my life, He's the director, I'm the producer. I'm going to spend this day going out producing, crushing it, and bringing glory to Him. That's a life well lived. What's going to put a smile on Dad's face? That's exciting for me. And I would love for you to be able to share in that joy. So that when you're building with those kind of materials and you're realizing that your life is founded in Christ, your life is securely in Christ, if you are a child of God, there could be no greater foundation than that which is already laid by Jesus Christ. And we can all build on that in our own unique way. And I want to help you discover and build your rad house. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to leave you with a question today, okay? If you were to change your approach today after hearing this video, if you've changed your approach today, what single decision will you do today? Not just think about it like, oh, that's a cool idea, I have made that decision. But what action step today, having heard this, does it compel you to want to do? What is that one thing? I have a big long list of things I'd love to help you out with, but I just want to like bite-size this little by little and just make this available to you as an inspiration of hope today. Just this one little degree today, one little degree can change the trajectory of your entire life, and not just this life, but for eternity. So today, answer that question down below. Leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. I also have some notes down below that's going to show you some other resources of how we can do life together if you need help. And if you'd like to go further on this journey together, Noah University, we talk about masters.life, a discipleship training program, as well as helping entrepreneurs discover their calling, overhaul their career, and totally amplify their platform. And that is my job to help you do that. Thanks for spending time with me today. Thanks for listening. I'd love to hear from you down below. And if this has been meaningful to you and you know somebody in your world that could use this, do me a favor and leave a comment down below and share it with them. Thanks.